Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of the Savvy Stylist podcast. I am your host, Amy Walker, and we are coming to the end of 2024, which is just crazy to me. So I just wanted to take a quick beat and say a massive thank you. Thank you to you, the listeners who are tuning in, leaning into what it is that I'm sharing, the messages, the trainings, the information, for showing up in this space for me this year. It has been my absolute pleasure. And I am so freaking excited for what 2025 has coming down the pipe for you guys. I have been working behind the scenes, getting interviews booked for the beginning of the year, the first quarter of the year. I have got some industry leaders coming into the space to talk to us, to share their knowledge, to share their information, and to help you ultimately, as the beauty industry professional, grow your business in all ways, in all capacities. So I am so excited. This is literally just the beginning. It is going to get so good moving forward. And so I just really appreciate each and every one of you for showing up here for me, for you, showing some love. As always, I am so grateful for you leaving your 5-star reviews, leaving me a love note, letting me know what you like, what's resonating, what episodes, sharing them with your friends. It all helps me grow, and your feedback helps me make sure that I am providing what it is you desire. So today, I want to get into a conversation around the ways that we choose employment. I'm not sure if that's the right way to explain this. What we're going to talk about today is the difference between booth rental and being a commissioned employee. And I want to break down the two of them. And I also want to go into why, in my opinion, you would choose one over the other. I am not going to say one way is right and the other way is wrong. I believe firmly that there is a place for both of them. I believe whether you are a salon owner or the professional behind the chair, the ones providing the service, I believe there is a place for both ways of conducting your work. There just are some really important things to know about both sides so that you can make an educated decision on how it is you choose to work. When you are looking at taking employment somewhere, I want you to have all of the facts. I want you to be able to sit back and make an educated decision because the choice you're making aligns with the values and the goals that you have. And sometimes I think, especially when we're newer to the industry, it can be very appealing to pick one over the other. And so I just want to give you some foundational points that will give you a really good understanding on the two. Now, why did I choose this subject for today? Because it has been a big conversation. And in my time working as a sales consultant for a beauty supply company, I spent a fair bit of time working with the beauty schools. And it was honestly one of the my favorite things to do was to connect with these new, inspired, excited, full of creativity, these individuals who just had stars in their eyes and sky was the limit, and they were so excited to go. And I love that. I love that so much so that when I do trainings and inside of my mentorships, we talk about harnessing that energy, harnessing what it felt like in your body and the excitement and the ideas and your visions when you were in school, when you were in the beginning, where you didn't know any different, where literally sky was the limit. You could do anything you wanted to and you felt invincible. This is my favorite. And so I would spend a fair bit of time with the schools and connecting with these students and then helping them transition into the working world when they left school, when they graduated from school. Now, I live in British Columbia, Canada, and here in BC, Canada, we don't have a licensing association. It went away a long time ago, and so what that means is you can choose to get a red seal. You pay for it, it's separate, it's a whole thing. You have to choose to do it. You do not need a license basically to work as a beauty industry professional in British Columbia. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's terrifying because we're like one of the only places who does this, and it is terrifying. And it terrifies me. And it was one of the reasons that I desperately wanted to support these individuals in their transition going from being a student to being the professional. Because in my eyes, as somebody who went through hairdressing school, went through an apprenticeship, wrote my license, yes, I am that old, and then had to work my way up. I mentored under people, I took education, I continued the training, and I took years and years and years, my whole career still, to build on that and learn all that I could learn. And so the gap that I see is that when you come out of hairdressing school as a student in British Columbia, we're going to talk specifically here, although the concept here applies across the board. When you come out of hairdressing school and um there is no expectation of you to be a student anymore, to work under somebody, to apprentice, to work your way up. It is available to you to leave hairdressing school and go directly into being a business owner if that is what you choose. It's horrifying. It scares the shit out of me, honestly. And with that being said, I have mentored and worked with individuals who have been very new to the industry and have built very successful careers. So I am by no means saying it can't be done. What I am saying is that there is a difference between mindsets, and knowing your options is really, really important. And so what I see a lot is students coming out of the hairdressing program and going directly into being their own boss. And although I am speaking directly to the beauty industry, although this message is directly for the beauty industry, this applies across the board to so many different industries, right? Because when you are green, when you are new to any profession, there is a learning phase. There is a time where you are still growing. You might be out of school officially, but you are still growing into the professional in your industry. And so when we skip that phase, that transition, and we go straight from student to CEO, there's a big gap in your learning, in your education, in your knowledge. And that's not to say that it can't be done. We just need to support them. And so I see this a lot where they come out of school and go, I don't want to work for anybody else. I want to be my own boss. I don't want to have to answer to somebody else. I want to make my own schedule. I want to make my own rules. I want to do the things I want to do. And so I'm going to go open a business. And I go, oh, okay. Okay, here we go. And so here's what I want to tell you. Let's talk first about being a booth renter, because that is what a big majority of those coming out of hairdressing school want to do. I also find that the model for businesses in having just straight booth renters is becoming more and more popular. And again, I have mixed feelings as someone who used to own a salon. I have very mixed feelings on that. Although I ran a booth rent salon, uh, this might be a whole nother conversation, but I did run a booth rent salon, but I was incredibly particular on who it was coming inside of my salon. And this, we're gonna swing back to that point. But as a booth renter, whether you're a booth renter in somebody else's space or you open your own salon, they are one and the same. The only real difference is that as a booth renter, you probably have less overhead than a salon owner of their own business establishment. Okay, so if you open your own salon, you have more overhead than a booth renter, but the responsibilities as a business owner are the same. Okay, so there's a lot of factors to consider, insurance being one of them, right? You are responsible for all of your products. Again, there are different ways that people choose to run booth rental, but you are your own business. And that's fine. If that is the direction that you choose, there are some things that you can do, some qualities that you can look for in a booth rent. But what's going to vary for you is going to be the cost. It all comes down to cost, okay? Some booth rent establishments will allow you to, you'll pay them a flat fee and they provide a list of things. Maybe they provide your back bar, maybe they provide towels, maybe they provide the coffee and the treats and all those things. Maybe they provide slippers, maybe they provide your color even. Maybe they provide social media advertising, maybe they provide other types of advertising, that kind of thing. They might provide all of those things. There's going to be a cost, quite a significantly higher cost than the booth rent that does not, that you pay for your chair to use that space, to use the facilities, but everything else is yours. You have your own products, your own color, all your own tools, towels, capes, everything that you need to do your job is up to you. And so your booth rent will probably be a little bit less in those scenarios. Now, as somebody who has owned a business and ran booth rental on a small scale, not large scale, but nonetheless, I recognized, I'm going to speak to you as a salon owner right now. Okay, so I'm putting on my salon owner hat here, and I'm going to speak to you as the salon owner who ran a booth rent salon. Okay, I knew that anybody working within my business, within my building, whether they were a booth renter or an employee, fell under the Lux and Lace Hair Boutique name. That was my salon, Lux and Lace Hair Boutique. Anybody working in that building, their reputation, the work that they did, the way they presented themselves, the way they showed up on social media, the way that the outside world talked about them reflected on me and my business name and me as an owner and as an individual. And that was really important to me to maintain a certain standard. Okay, so not everyone does this because not everyone cares. So me as the salon owner who ran a booth rent business, knowing that that all reflected back on me and the way that me as an individual and my business was represented in our community, I had certain standards. And so I had my stylists provide their own color. They needed their own tools, but everything else there was provided for them. The retail that was sold was provided. The back bar was all provided. The space, the coffee, the treats, the wines, the waters, the drinks, all of those things, those were all included and provided because I, as a business owner, wanted to maintain a certain standard, a certain appearance, I wanted to create experiences for everyone walking through our door that were bougie and high level and made them feel glamorous. And that was my value. And so that was why I chose to run my booth rent business in that manner. Not everybody does that. And this can create a little bit of inconsistency and a little bit of chaos because you can have a lot of bodies in a small space, all with different values, all with different ideas on what professionalism looks like, what experiences they're trying to create. I think you kind of get the idea of what I'm saying here. So, do I think booth rental is good, bad, and different? I think that I'm kind of neutral on it. As a business owner, I had certain standards, and as someone who has come back into the industry, into a booth rental, those were things that I paid attention to. And disclaimer, the salon who I'm working inside of is the salon and the owner that I worked for 10 years and built up everything I knew about being an owner. So it was a really easy fit. I knew that our values and our goals and our experiences were going to align. So the point here is that you need to really take the time to figure out who you are, what experience you're wanting to create, what you want your work life to look like, and find somewhere that fits those same values. Now, on the flip side to this, to be an employee of someone, there are a lot of perks. There are a lot of benefits. And specifically in our area where I live in British Columbia, where there is no licensing association where you can come straight out of hairdressing school and go straight into being a business owner if you want to, there's a lot of value inside being an employee of, because now you are learning from. So in a booth rent situation, there's more than likely not somebody who is willing to take the time and put the effort into growing you as a stylist, you as the professional, because everyone has their own business and they're all just worried about themselves and their clients. Yes. When you're a business owner who hires employees, you have a level of commitment to those employees to help them grow. Because the more they grow, the more money they bring in for the business, and the more the business grows. And so you have, as the employee, more of an opportunity to learn from the others around you. You have more of an opportunity to be mentored from those around you. And as a new stylist, this is massively important. Massively important. Whether you had to apprentice or not, this phase of being part of a team and growing and learning and expanding and having somebody mentor you behind the chair as the stylist, as the professional, is like, it's invaluable. The other thing to consider is that you don't have the commitments and the overhead and the responsibilities that a booth renter does or a salon owner. Okay. You are coming in as the employee of, getting paid however they're paying you, and everything is provided for you. Everything is provided for you. So you don't have overhead. You need your tools, you're responsible to bring in your clients, and then everything else is provided for you. And so it allows you, as the newer individual into the industry, to be able to sit back and focus all of your effort and attention and energy into your craft, into growing as a professional, into mastering the things that you want to learn how to do, into growing your clientele and creating those experiences and all of those things. So your overhead is almost none. Your responsibility, other than obviously the responsibility to work as a team and to take care of the space, but your responsibility to supply your own color and your products and your back bar and your this and your that and your all of that stuff is provided for you. The other thing, and this is again coming from somebody who worked for a lot of years as an employee, you get benefits. And I'm not necessarily talking about like health, dental, that kind of benefits, but here in Canada, anyways, I can't speak to the US because I don't know how that system works, but I'm going to speak for Canada. You, as an employee, your employer pays into employment insurance. So, me, again, talking about myself, my own experiences to share with you, as a young hairdresser who was newly married and starting a family, guess who got to take a full maternity leave when we had our first baby? I did. And it was incredible. And I got full employment insurance benefits because I was an employee of a business. Yes, I lost a lot of clients. That's a story for a whole other day, but I'll never get that year back. And so there were some really big perks to that. The second baby that we had, our second daughter, I was then a business owner. And so I didn't get a maternity leave. I was the mama back behind the chair with a 3-week-old baby and my husband bringing her down so that I could nurse her in between clients. That's how I worked with my second baby. But my first one, because I was an employee of, I got to take a full maternity leave and it was incredible. So there are pros and cons depending on your values, what it is that you want to do, what your goals are, right? In the first stages of my career, I wanted to be part of a team. I wanted to grow. I wanted to learn. I wanted to be mentored. I am a habitual student, though. That is who I am. That is my mentality. That has always been who I am. It's probably why I'm so like passionate about teaching these things to people now, because it has got me so far in this industry and so many more doors open for me in this industry because I was willing to learn. I was open to the mentorship and I wanted to be part of a team. Not to say you don't get to be part of a team as a booth renter, but it's not the same. Okay. Everything that I learned in those 10 years working in the salon that I did made it possible for me to open my own business because I spent those 10 years learning how to run a business, learning from the best, being mentored, being open to being coached and taught. And so then I was ready to step out into my own. So again, this comes back to your core values, what it is you want for your career, what you want your business to look like, what your long-term goals are. So I'm not saying that it's right or wrong or one is good or one is bad. I'm just saying do your homework. And that's why I wanted to kind of dissect the difference between being a booth renter and a employee, a booth renter, salon owner, so that you could understand the differences between the two things, why you might choose one over the other. And if I could leave you today with any type of words of wisdom, as somebody who's been in the industry for 20 plus years, and I've worked in many different capacities inside this industry. And I've worked on both sides of being an employee and a booth renter and a salon owner. I've been in all of those situations. And there were really amazing things about all of them, but they came at different parts of my career. So had I left hairdressing school with the mentality that I didn't need to learn anymore and I was going to go out and do it on my own, I can honestly say that I likely would have never got to where I am today. I never would have even probably got to opening my own business and being able to run it successfully the way that I did if I hadn't started as an employee, working on a team, learning, growing, constantly educating myself, constantly investing in education, all the time. And the one thing that I wish that I was more aware of then, that I knew then, And this is all just part of learning, right? I wish that I had also spent more time investing in mentors to teach me more than just the craft of doing hair. Investing in mentors to teach me how to build a business sooner, faster, more efficient, more effective on a larger scale. I wish that I had invested in mentors who could teach me about the mindset work and the energetic to not burn out, to be able to hold space for all of my clients and all of their shit and drama and not take it home with me. I wish that I knew that then, but that's okay. What happens is when we know better, we do better. Once we know better, we get the option to choose to do better. And so that's why this space, this podcast, this platform, this movement that we are creating is so exciting because we get to do it differently. We get to, you, the listener, you get to do it differently. You get to choose bigger. You get to choose better. You get to make more informed, educated decisions based on you and your desires and your dreams and your vision. Yes, I hope that is resonating for you guys. I hope that this episode, I didn't want to, there's so many avenues we can go into, but I really wanted this to be laser focused on the differences between booth rent and being an employee. And so I hope that you have taken some golden nuggets out of this. I hope that if you are the professional who is in this position right now, you're trying to figure out what direction your business is going to go, what you want. I would love for you to reach out to me on Instagram and let's just have a conversation. Let me know where you're at. Let me know what you're thinking, and let's go through some things that can help make this a seamless transition for you. Sometimes it just takes someone else bringing to the forefront what may or may not be important for you to go, oh, yeah, no, shoot, I don't want to do that. Oh, that's definitely not for me. Oh, I absolutely want to do this. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just really helpful to have that person to play off of. And I want to connect with you. I get to create these episodes and create this content and pour into you guys. And I don't even know who you are on the other end listening to this. So I would just love if you came over to Instagram and you introduced yourself and you let me know where you're at and what you think. And if you feel like you got any value out of this episode or any of the episodes that you listened to, I would love if you shared it with a friend and just helped this movement, help make this change and help elevate the beauty industry back to what we all wanted it to be, what it was for us in the very beginning, because we can very easily get lost in that. I love you guys so much. It has been my absolute pleasure to share this with you today. As we close out 2024, I am just so excited, so excited to bring all of the things to life for you. So I hope that you're following along. I hope you keep tuning in. Let me know where you're at. Say hello. And I can't wait to see you on the next episode of the Savvy Stylist podcast. I'm your host, Amy Walker, and I love you so much.